Good morning, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Deep Cut Dive. This is the show where we take a look at those non-radio staples, those non-hits, the non-greatest hits sets and compilations, okay? The songs that the band didn't play live, tour after tour after tour. The non-popular songs, the songs that are nicely nestled within their discography, the songs that the casual fan might not know. So today we're going to talk about the Electric Light Orchestra, or ELO for short. So this is how it goes. I'm going to offer you 5 deep cuts from their discography. All you fellow big and loyal ELO followers and fans out there, I urge you to also offer up those who don't know a lot about ELO, haven't listened to a lot of ELO, only know the big hits and the radio songs from ELO. Offer up 5 other tracks that they can then go check out, discover, and hopefully open up some of these great albums and additional songs to those who maybe aren't that well versed in these bands we're talking about. So like I said, ELO, great British band, popped up basically out of the ashes of the Move in the very early 70s. Like I said, I'm going to take a look at 5 tracks from throughout their career that hopefully some of you may never have heard before. Now's a good chance to go check them out, see what you think, right? So the first song I'm going to throw out there is actually from their first album, which, depending on which part of the planet you lived, was either called Electric Light Orchestra or called No Answer. Here in the States, it was called No Answer, right? So this is the album right here. The song I'm going to throw out there is a song called Mr. Radio. Originally chosen to be the second single from this album, but at the last minute the record label decided, you know what, we're going to pull that back, we're not going to release that. Kind of a shame. The song is, it's one of, this is a kind of a weird album. There's got all this kind of, mixing of styles, and you got the cello, and it's kind of very avant-garde, very different from the ELO that we would know a couple years later, and it's pretty different from the Move as well. This gets this kind of like orchestral rock chamber kind of like album. But this song, Mr. Radio, song is about a guy whose wife leaves him, and he's got nobody else to turn to, no friends, nobody's going to come comfort him except for his radio. All right, it's all about the radio here. The song is very playful and Beatles-like. The harmonies, Jeff Lynne, huge Beatles fan. So you got a lot of kind of sugary, sweet, soaring Beatles-style harmonies on here. Like I said, kind of like chamber music meets pop. All right, you got in the beginning, so you got like this backwards recorded cello. It's just kind of a strange song, but it's a very appealing song, and it's quite catchy, actually. I think if they would have gone ahead and released it as the single like it should have been, might have done big business. We'll never know, right? But definitely, when most people talk about ELO, Electric Light Orchestra, you never hear anybody talking about Mr. Radio. But check it out, see what you think. All right, next up, we're going to go to On the Third Day from 1973, their third album. Again, depending on the country you live in, that cover might have been different. I know the LP that I had was white, had all the guys in the band on the cover, famously showing their navels, right? This, I believe, was the UK cover release. I kind of like the other one better. This one's just a little, nondescript, I think. Anyway, the song from this album that I'm choosing is called Dreaming of 4000. Very cool song. So this band also dabbled in quite a bit of progressive rock early on. And this song, very prog rock-like. Okay, it's one of the longer tunes on the album. It starts off with these kind of like cool synths and very atmospheric and spacey. And then you get these hard rock guitar riffs coming in, which rumor has it that Mark Bolan played most, if not all, of the guitar work on this particular track. Of course, that's Mark Bolan from T-Rex. Okay, pretty cool riff though. And then the strings come in. It's got great Moog synthesizers on this song. Got the violins and cellos soaring all over the place. Chorus is very catchy. It's a very kind of dreamlike song. Like I said, very proggy. Got the hard rock guitars. Always loved it. Dreaming of 4000 from On the Third Day. Investigate that one if you have not heard it. All right, next up, we're going to go to one of my favorite ELO albums, Face the Music from 1975, for a song called Poker. Okay, Poker. One of the more rockin' songs that this band ever did. It's got, like I said, great hard rocker. It's got a killer guitar riff from Mr. Jeff Lynne. I almost drew a complete blank there. It happens sometimes as you get older. Great vocals from bassist Kelly Grocott on this song. He's fairly new to the band and at the time, and just pulls in a really, really strong lead vocal. I wish he sang more with the band. I know it's Jeff's band, but Kelly, very good bass player, very good singer. He contributed backing vocals to all those classic ELO albums going forward. Big orchestral swells and synths in this song as well. All right, plenty of thunderous, bombastic drumming from Bev Bevan. I love his drum work on this album is amazing. From the great instrumental opener "Fire on High" to this song, Bev Bevan just pounding away, and he's got that kind of orchestral flair to his drum style. Really good. One of my favorite rockers from this band, Poker, from Face the Music. Alrighty then, let's go fast forward now to a new world record. Just 1 year later, 1976. I'm going to go with the closing track, "ShangriLa." Okay, a lot of times people talk about deep cuts on albums, and you know what? It doesn't get any deeper than the final cut, right? But this is kind of like, for me, "ShangriLa" is a perfect precursor to what would come next on Out of the Blue. So you've got lush, dreamy synths, electric piano, strings. You got a nice tasty little jazzy guitar solo from Jeff. Loads of backing vocals, big chorus. Jeff's lead vocal is just absolutely perfect on this song. And like I said, I think that it's almost like that song is the lead-in to Out of the Blue, because if you would have taken "ShangriLa" and put it on Out of the Blue, fits perfectly. And again, a lot of this is a very strong album, by the way, and this has got some cool kind of radio hits and pop tunes. I think, a little bit of elements, people call it like the late 70s, kind of like the disco thing starting to come into the music of ELO a little bit. So call it art rock, prog rock, pre-disco, not really sure. It's very accessible, lots of grooves, soaring vocal harmonies, melodies, things like that. But anyway, "ShangriLa," last track on the album, definitely a great deep cut. Now we're going to go ahead a few years, 1981. We're going to go to the Time album for a song called "21st Century Man." No, not 21st Century Schizoid Man, just 21st Century Man. All right, big soaring pop hooks, the specter of the Beatles again, all over a lot of this album, actually. This album is a much more kind of synth-heavy electronic album. Strings are really missing from this album, but I think that this, if you really love the big keyboard sound in ELO, this is a really good album for it. It's a concept album, of course. Nice slide guitar solo from Jeff as well. Tasty little slide solo going on there as well. Like I said, loads of synths. You just love that early 80s synths, and I'm kind of thinking, similar like Jethro Tull's A album, right? Tons of synths on that album, right? Beginning of a couple albums where lots of synths. Kind of similar type thing happened with ELO here. It's a shame that they kind of dropped a lot of the strings in favor of more keyboards. I kind of like when they both work together, but still a very fine album, very kind of futuristic sounding album, quite different from the Discovery album, which came right before it. So there you have it. 5 deep cut track recommendations. We got Mr. Radio from No Answer, or ELO, Electric Light Orchestra, Dreaming of 4000 from On the Third Day, Poker from Face the Music, "ShangriLa" from A New World Record, and 21st Century Man from Time. So again, as I stated at the top, for those of you who are big ELO fans like I am, go into their catalog and pick out 5 real deep cuts for those who maybe aren't as well versed in ELO. Remember, not the songs that played on the radio, not the songs that featured on their multitude of greatest hits compilations, not the songs they played live all the time. We're talking true deep cuts, the songs that the casual fan probably don't know. So throw them out in the comments below. For those of you who, like I said, who are hearing some of these songs for the first time, go listen to them. We want to hear your feedback. What did you think about some of these recommendations from myself and from some of our viewers? So that's the important thing here, is to expose yourself to music you might not have heard before. Visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook. Follow us there. Follow us on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. Coming up shortly, ranking the studio albums. There's not a lot of them, but we're going to rank them because everybody's asking for them. Sir Lord Baltimore, New York's finest proto-metal band. That's coming up this morning, so you don't want to miss that. Also, I got a pretty special show I'm working on. Going to tie together 3 very cool kind of late 60s psychedelic prog heavy rock bands. We're talking about the Gods, Toe Fat, and Head Machine. They're all kind of related. I'm going to do them all in one show, so that's coming up as well, too. You don't want to miss that. We got Martin Popoff coming up on the show this week. Jack Toledano's coming back on the show this week. Stephen Reed's coming back on the show this week. Jeff Young might be coming back next week. I'm not sure. He and I have to schedule doing the Deep Cut Dive with Hart. All sorts of stuff going on. Got a great interview coming up this weekend. Another one coming up Saturday with two guys I respect quite a bit from a great prog band. That's coming up Saturday. So you don't want to miss any of this stuff. So make sure if you're not subscribed, subscribe, bookmark us, whatever you got to do. Come back often because we're just pumping out content left and right. So we'll see you guys real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.